Hi guys, it's the new year and I know we're all keen to get nice and fit, but if you haven't been doing too much exercise over the Christmas holidays, it's probably not a good idea to jump into something too strenuous too quickly. So what I'm going to do today is something a little bit different. I'm going to do Pilates in the style of a HIIT class. So for those who aren't familiar with it, HIIT is high intensity interval training. It's usually used for cardio or strength exercises, and you do a blast of 45 seconds of exercise with a 10-second break in between. Today we're going to stick with Pilates exercises that we know that we're familiar with, but we're going to do a continuous flow. So we're going to do 45 seconds of one exercise non-stop, then we'll take a 10-second break, more or less just to transition from one position to another, then we'll do another 45 seconds, and so on for 6 exercises. So altogether, the set will take about 5 minutes. If you feel like it, after the set, you can do a second set or a third set, or anything up to 6 sets. Typically, a HIIT session is about 6 sets of the exercises. So what I'll do is I'll go through all the exercises first to explain the exercises and the different variations depending on your level, and then we'll get started together so that we can go non-stop once we get started. So the first exercise we're going to do is our 100 exercise, which we've done plenty of times before. So we'll just come to a seated position, hold on to the back of the legs and gently lower down to the mat. The spine is in a neutral position, so we'll just roll the hips back and forth to find that neutral position. The feet are flat on the mat, about hip distance apart. The hands are resting on the mat. We take a deep breath in to prepare, engage the tummy and float the head and shoulders off the mat, stretching the hands forward to look down through the legs. From here we have 3 different options. Option 1 is to leave your feet flat on the mat as they are now. Option 2 is to raise one leg at a time up to a tabletop position and do about half the time, so about 22 seconds on each side before lowering the leg and raising the other leg. It's really important when you raise the leg off the mat that the spine does not arch away from the floor. So you should be keeping that neutral position, really squeeze into the tummy as you're lifting the legs. If the back is arching away from the floor, then just leave both legs on the mat. If you float one leg and the back doesn't come away from the floor and you feel strong enough, you can squeeze really hard into the tummy and float the second leg to a tabletop position. And we'll do our pumping from there. So for our 100, we count to 100, breathing in for a count of 5 and out for a count of 5 while pumping the arms. So today, instead of counting to 100, we'll just do 45 seconds. So that's our first exercise. And then when we're finished, the feet go to the mat and then the head and shoulders go to the mat. The second exercise is going to be our shoulder bridge. So we're in the same position, the feet are flat on the mat, and we're just going to roll back and forth through the hips to make sure the spine is in a neutral position. We're going to bring the feet a little bit closer to the bum, but the feet are still hip distance apart. The hands are resting on the mat. We're going to take a deep breath in to prepare, and then we're going to lift the hips straight off the mat and up towards the ceiling until we have a straight line from the knee to the shoulder. Previous times that we've done this exercise, we've rolled down through the spine and up through the spine. But today, for something a little bit more dynamic, we're just going to lift and lower, lift and lower, lift and lower. Make sure each time you lift, you're getting that straight line from the knees to the shoulders. If you'd like to add some extra challenge, you can float the hands to the ceiling. Lift and lower, So lift, lower, lift, lower. If you have the hands lifted and you find it gets too much, you can just put them back down to the mat and we'll continue for 45 seconds. So that's our second exercise. To come back up to a seated position, we'll just hold on to the back of the leg and roll ourselves up to seated. Our third exercise is going to be our C curve exercise. So we sit up nice and straight as you can. You may be leaning back very slightly depending on the flexibility in your hips, but try and make sure that you're straight from your hips out through the top of the head. So straight's fine. The legs are about hip distance apart, the knees are bent. You have two options. Option one is to hold the back of the knees. We're going to engage the tummy and gently drop the bottom of the back down towards the mat and roll back as far as we can. Then we take a deep breath in and come back up. The tummy is engaged the whole time. So again, deep breath in, tummy engaged, roll the back down towards the mat, then squeeze the tummy and come back up. Option two is to have our hands in first position, otherwise exactly the same. Deep breath in, squeeze the tummy, drop the lower back towards the mat and go back as far as is comfortable and safe for you. Squeeze the tummy and come back up. We'll do that again. So we'll squeeze the tummy, drop the lower back and go down towards the mat. If it gets too much on your back or on your tummy, you can hold the back of the legs at any time. So we're going to do that one for 45 seconds. Our next one is going to be on our tummy. So just drop the knees and we'll come over onto an all fours position and then we'll lower ourselves down to the mat. So the first exercise in this position is going to be our single leg kick. So we're going to come up onto our elbows. The elbows are directly underneath the shoulders. The hands are out in front in a number 11 position. The hips are on the mat. The legs are about hip distance apart. The legs are nice and straight with the toes pointing away. We're going to take a breath in to prepare and then one leg at a time, we're going to kick the leg in towards the bum for a double kick. So 1, 2 and down. 1, 2 and down. You might find that the leg just comes pointing towards the ceiling, or it might come a little further depending on your own flexibility. The rest of the body should be as stable as possible. The hips should not be lifting off the floor. 1, 2, 1, 2, and we'll do that for 45 seconds. During that, the tummy is engaged, but just gently engaged. So just activate it. Don't squeeze too much or you'll bring tension into the lower back, which will make the exercise more difficult. As you're kicking, the knee should be coming very, very slightly, just the kneecap, very, very slightly off the mat. But don't worry about that too much. The focus is on the kick in towards the bum. The next exercise is going to be our swimming. So we'll just lower back down to the mat. Again, the legs are about hip distance apart. The legs are stretched away and nice and active. So just feel like you're just about to lift the toes off the mat. We'll engage the tummy. We'll bring the arms out to the side and lift the arms up to shoulder height. Then we stretch the arms forward. We're going to lift the legs so that the thighs are off the mat. And then we're going to lift and lower opposite leg. So right hand, left leg and kick. Nice and swiftly and smoothly. The rest of the body should remain fairly stable. Again, a gentle squeeze into the tummy, not to bring any tension into the lower back. You should be feeling that in the bum. The hips should be staying stable on the mat, so very little rocking in the hips. The movement is coming from the shoulders and the tops of the legs. So the legs are staying straight and the movement is coming from the hip joint. After our 45 seconds, we'll relax down. We're on to our last exercise, which is going to be a plank. I'll give you 3 different options for the plank. Option 1 is on your knees. So knees together, the hands are directly under The shoulders, we'll just step forward slightly with the hands, bend the feet up and drop down into a plank position. So you should have a straight line from the shoulders to the knees with the hands more or less directly under the shoulders. That's position number one. Our second option, if you're feeling a little stronger, is to curl the toes under and come up into a full high plank position. So again, it's a straight line from the shoulders to the ankles with the hands more or less under the shoulders. Option three, if you'd like some extra challenge, we're going to step out to the side with the right leg and then with the left leg. So it will be 1, 2, 1, 2. You can do a combination. You can start in this fixed plank position and do some stepping and then stop. If this high plank position is too high, you can drop down to the knees. Just make sure if you go to the knees that you lift the feet and have that nice straight line from the shoulders to the knees. So that's all of the exercises. We're going to do a very quick warm-up first, and then we'll go in and do our first circuit. So to do our warm-up, we're going to come up into an all-fours position with the hands directly under the shoulders, the knees directly under the hips. The legs are about hip distance apart. And we're just going to do a cat to camel stretch to warm up the spine. So we're going to start by taking a deep breath in, engage the tummy, and arch the spine up towards the ceiling as you drop the head to look down through the legs. Then we'll drop the spine towards the mat, lifting the head to look forward. Keep that engagement in the tummy. We'll drop the head, arch the spine up towards the ceiling and look down through the legs. Then we'll drop the spine towards the floor and lift the head to look forward. We'll do one more. So drop the head, arch the spine up towards the ceiling, look down through the legs, and then we'll drop the back towards the mat and look forward. So from here we're going to just drop one knee and then hip down to the mat, and we'll swivel around onto our bum. We place the legs about hip distance apart. Make sure you're about halfway down the length of your mat. Grab the back of the legs and lower down to the floor. And I'm just going to start my timer for our HIIT circuit. So we have 5 seconds. Engage the tummy, float the legs, and let's count. Keep the tummy engaged. Keep breathing nice and deeply. In for a count of 5 and out for a count of 5. Make sure the shoulders are well lifted off the mat. Make sure there's no strain on the lower back and that the lower back is not arching away from the mat. We have 10 seconds to go. Keep breathing. 3, 2, 1. Feet down, head and shoulders down. Let's get into position for our shoulder bridge. So the feet come closer to the bum, hands are flat, engage the tummy, and up, down, up, down. Raise the arms if you want the extra challenge. Up, down. Keep the tummy engaged. Make sure you're pushing the hips fully forward so you're getting that nice straight line from the knee to the shoulders. Let's keep it going. Keep breathing deeply into the sides of the lungs, getting plenty of oxygen to keep the muscles active as you exercise. So lift and lower, lift and lower. Last one. We'll grab the back of the leg, come up to the seated position and get into position for our C curve. So engage the tummy, hold the back of the knees and let's roll back and up. I'm going to do mine with the arms floated, down and up. Keep the tummy engaged. Keep the shoulders relaxed. Keep the feet flat on the mat. Really squeeze the tummy to help with that lift and lower. Go as low as you can, but don't put any strain on the back. Breathe really deeply. Fill the lungs to keep you going. 10 seconds, so maybe 2 more rolls. Keep going. Last one, and relax. We're going to drop the hands, come round onto our tummy. We're going to come up onto our shoulders, legs are hip distance apart. Kick, 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 kick. Gentle activation in the tummy. Legs are active, so keep those toes pointed away. Keep the shoulders relaxed, no tension in the shoulders. Kick, 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 kick. Let's keep it going. Breathe deeply. You're probably running out of breath a little bit at this stage. Keep the hips stable on the mat. Kick in towards the bum as firmly as you can, while keep everything firm on the mat. We have 10 seconds to go. 5. And we're going to go into our swimming. So we lower down to the mat. The legs are hip distance apart. The hands come out to the side, lift up, stretch forward, lift the legs, and let's kick. Keep breathing. This one in particular uses lots of energy because the whole body is activated. So gentle squeeze into the tummy, not too much rocking in the hips. Keep the legs straight so the toes are pointed away. Keep the fingers pointed away. Stretch the hands forward as far as you can. Keep kicking. Breathe deep, deep, deep into the lungs. Keep it going. Gentle activation in the tummy. No tension in the shoulders. And we're nearly there. Relax the hands. Let's come up into our plank position. So pick your position. Knees are together. This is position 1 and this is position 2. I'm going to step. Keep relaxed in the shoulders. Engaged in the tummy. Breathe really deeply into the sides of the lungs. Fill those lungs. Keep the tummy engaged. Relaxed in the shoulders. So if you find there's a lot of tension coming up into the shoulders, then go to one of the previous positions. Either the static plank position or down onto the knees. I'm going to keep going like this to keep my heart rate up. And we have 8 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop the knees. And let's drop back into a shell position to relax. I'm just going to stop my timer. So, that's the first circuit done. See how you feel after one circuit. If you feel you have some energy left, try one more. If after that you feel you still have some energy, try a third one. And anything up to 6 sets. I hope you enjoyed this exercise. I hope you can feel it bringing your heart rate up, activating all your muscles, and giving you some motivation for the new year. See you soon. Bye.